This is the APD Pod Squad. I'm Rick Rice. In this episode, Sergeant Brad Beddow recently reassigned from patrol to the Specialized Operations Division, where he'll serve as the HACA team supervisor. HACA meaning the Housing Authority of the City of Asheville, for those not in the know. Also, Sergeant Hunter Welborn from the Traffic Safety Unit will talk about a fun day for the family coming up at Biltmore Church on July 25th with several local police and fire departments. And we'll also discuss a really bad week we had recently with 3 motor vehicle fatalities, 2 of those involving motorcycles, and the message from APD in the aftermath. Getting to know Officer Dalton Green. We'll hear about his journey from Texas to new solo officer. And Hannah Silberman returns for another History Minute as we go back to July 1911 for the line of duty death of Officer Edward McConnell that involved stolen cows. It's all coming up on Season 2, Episode 22 of the APD Pod Squad. Getting to know Sergeant Brad Beddow. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
First, we need to invoke the name of Lieutenant Evan Flanders, who managed to avoid this.
Oh, yeah. He pulled rank on this one, for sure. For sure.
Well, maybe you need to get a promotion. You got to get up to lieutenant or captain or something like, and then you can avoid the next one.
Trying to catch that guy is pretty impossible.
We've really never sat down to talk, so I'm looking forward to getting to know you as well as some of our listeners out there. And this seems like a good place to begin with this question we ask just about everybody. How about one thing that most people don't know about you?
Okay. Yeah. It's pretty basic, but I was born in Colombia, South America.
Okay. I was waiting for South Carolina.
No, sir.
And you dropped Columbia, South America.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you arrive here?
I was only a couple months old. I know most people would have guessed that from my name being Brad. That's definitely a Colombian name.
Not a Hispanic name so much.
But I was a few months old when I got adopted, and we lived in New York for a while, and then up in Maine, and then we moved down here.
You obviously have no accent whatsoever.
It's neutral.
So a little bit of the New York, I would have thought, that's where you spent most of your time.
If you met me when I was 7 years old, I sounded like I was from Jersey Shore, just a 7-year-old version of it.
Like one of those Jersey guys, huh?
Yeah, it was. I lived in Long Island, New York, so it was a heavy New York accent. You would have.
I knew most of those. I grew up in Buffalo, so the Buffalo accent way different than the other side of the state, right? And I don't really have much of one anymore. But my family all still does,
right?
So I know the eastern side of the state, and it's even down to boroughs with specific accents.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I know the Long Island one is kind of a little bit of that. And then you got Brooklyn, you got those guys, right? And so then it's such a diverse area. It lends itself to that, I suppose.
Definitely.
So you mostly grew up in the island, in Long Island?
Well, I was there until I was 7, and then we moved up to Brunswick, Maine, which is about 30 minutes north of Portland. So it's on the southern coast of Maine.
So you're a Mainer?
A Mainer, and I developed a New England accent for a little while. I was dropping wickeds and, bahabas all over the place. And then 2 days before my freshman year of high school started, we moved down here to Hendersonville.
So the moving, is that because your family job, military, something?
No, it was we moved up to Maine because my aunt and uncle lived there. They were stationed up there at the Brunswick Naval Air Station when my parents split. And then I have 3 sisters, and we're all consecutive ages. So it would have been theoretically 3 college bills or 4 college bills at the same time at one point. And the state schools in Maine were not the greatest, and they were 3 times more expensive than here.
Yeah.
My parents narrowed down to 2 states, and it was Nevada and North Carolina. And we went to our favorite pizza place in Maine, and we flipped a coin, and North Carolina won. And so
you legitimately
flipped
a coin and abided by the flip.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
and they started at the Research Triangle. They took a month off in the summer, and they started at the Research Triangle and kept moving west, like to Asheville, and then found Hendersonville.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have been my something people don't know. Listen, we flipped a coin.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is.
My brother had a similar plan. His didn't work out very well. He had heard that Arizona will pay for your education if you're an Arizona resident, right? So he moved to Arizona without doing much research, right? This is pre-internet. So he moves to Arizona. He gets out there. He applies. He is not accepted to the colleges that would offer that particular thing.
Classic.
Yeah, Arizona State, University of Arizona, he tried. But by then, he had purchased like a 1974 Cougar.
Heck yeah.
Which is like this big, huge American car with a massive front end, if you've ever seen these things. He drove this thing back from Arizona to Buffalo And my dad, who was a gearhead, is like, how did this car make it?
That's crazy.
It had like 3 cylinders left by the time it pulled in the driveway. So he did not have as much success with the plan for the college as you and your family did.
Right.
So where did you go to school then?
Well, I went to UNCA for 2 years.
All right.
And then transferred to UNC Charlotte and graduated from there in 2002.
So in Asheville, so you knew about Asheville, graduated from Charlotte. What brought you back here to work for the Asheville Police Department?
Let's see, I graduated in 2002 with a bachelor's in finance. I worked in Charlotte for a year at Bank of America, and it was the worst job. Not the company, but just looking at a spreadsheet all day was not my cup of tea. I ended up moving back here and worked at Jerusalem Garden downtown.
Okay.
So I started working there when I was like 21, 22 years old. And then I stayed there for like 5 years, moved back to Charlotte, and then back here. I always wanted to be a police officer. My grandfather was one. He was a lieutenant for the narcotics division in Harlem back in the 50s.
Wow. I bet he's got some stories.
He does. I wanted to follow in his footsteps. I applied at APD several times, and the third time they gave me the shot. And 2014, I started.
You know, you see that a lot with some people saying, I wanted to be in law enforcement. I thought about it because of a family history. You see that a lot. It could be a father. It could be a grandfather.
Yeah.
It could be something even more distant. You're exposed to it just a little bit, and you're like, I think that could be for me.
Yeah.
And so it was.
Yep. And so he was undercover, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I tried to gear my career towards it. I was older. I was 34 in the academy. I think I was like the second oldest person in my academy class. So I knew once I started FTO and my first couple of years on patrol to keep an open mind because I may not like doing drug work. I may like being an SRO or whatever. So it was just I kept my mind open to see what I would like.
Well, you were Detective Brad Beddow for a time, correct?
Yeah, so I did patrol I was on day shift with my primary FTO. We were beat partners. Fortunately enough, we got along great, and we were very proactive. So we killed it on the day shift, and he went to DWI task force, and I wanted to also do DWIs. So I voluntarily switched with somebody on nights. We just swapped positions. He was a Charlie A night officer. I was a day. So we just swapped, and I started working nights, focusing on traffic and DWIs. And then they had just changed the district. So Charlie District included Hillcrest and Klondike and a lot of the public housing. And honestly, I was terrified of the public housing aspect of it. But you're forced to be in those areas, and I grew to love it. It's my favorite place to be. So I put in for public housing unit after that, and then CID, and then I went to the drug suppression unit, street crimes, impact street crimes, and then major case, and then I got promoted.
And now, back to public housing.
Today is day one.
First day?
Day one.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought for some reason it was over the weekend. I guess July 4th begins the pay period, I suppose. Correct. But it was kind of, this is getting into the new rhythm and all of that. So you're the leader of the new HACA team. This is something that we had, and one of the areas we had to back off of because of, quite frankly, not enough officers.
Yeah.
We lost officers. We had to do away with temporarily the traffic safety unit and the housing unit and even the bicycle unit downtown. We're starting to get those back online now. And so this is the housing unit. And so an area that you're familiar with.
Yes.
Just like old hat then, just getting on a bike back again?
Absolutely. Evan and I both actually used to work on the housing team. He was one of the original members. Interestingly enough, our careers have kind of paralleled each other. He went to DSU, I went to DSU, but he's been my supervisor since I got to street crimes. And he was my supervisor on patrol when I got promoted, and now he's my supervisor again over the HACA team. But we both have experience. I've kept my pulse on housing. I've helped people that were on the housing unit after I got off the team and went to CID. I've been in contact with the property managers ever since I've been on the housing team. So they're very familiar with me. It's a natural progression, to be honest with you.
Let's explain to folks that aren't as familiar with what this team is, what it does, how many of you. I believe there's 6, correct?
There's 6. Yes.
Okay, is 6 plus you, or are you part of the 6?
6 plus me.
Okay, so as the leader of that group. And they're rotating basically among all of the housing developments, of which I believe there's 10?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to folks how this is going to work logistically.
Logistically, we have 4 right now. 2 more are going to come in August, and then myself. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide up the public housing unit. So, for instance, when I was on the unit, I was in Charlie District, spent most of my time in Hillcrest and Klondike. So I got those 2 properties to manage. And what that means to manage is we meet with the property manager on a weekly basis. We conduct community meetings at their community centers to go over with any residents that show up, answer any questions they may have. And so any concerns concerns, any complaints, any community events, like for instance, this weekend they're having a Hillcrest reunion that we're going to be a part of. That officer would kind of spearhead that. Any investigations that they proactively do in that neighborhood, he's responsible for that as well.
So officers will kind of float among the ones they're assigned to, and they're not just going to set up shop in one and stay there.
Correct. And oftentimes, especially in the summertime when people are on annual leave, we'll all go together a lot of times. So it'll be, if something's happening in Hillcrest, all 6 or 7 of us will go, and we'll go as a team. So I tend to call that wolf packing. So we'll wolf pack a lot of stuff.
Day one, first day, so you haven't had a chance to get out there among the people yet so much. But are you already starting to get a vibe just from talking with leadership and others that it's going to be a positive experience? People want you there.
I believe so. We had the task force in March where I supervised 4 officers, and we were strictly kind of doing exactly what our job function is now. I made it known that this team was coming about, and they hadn't selected me or asked me to be the leader of the team yet, but I've talked to a lot of residents, and a lot of residents that even in the middle of a critical incident that come and talk to us are super stoked that we're going to be there because they have seen the difference between when the housing team is not there and when it is. Sergeant Brad Beddow joins me now, and I've spoken with this about Chief Stepp, with Deputy Chief Ardema, in that this initiative is something that was really, it started with them, with the housing unit, with Ella and all their team over there wanting the APD presence there. And a majority of the things that are happening, the illegal things that are happening, the crimes that are happening, people are bringing to those communities. It's not the people that live in the community where the majority of the problems are coming from. 100%. Most of the people that we're having to deal with, they may have grown up there and they may have been raised there for a little bit, but they no longer live there, and they're just bringing it to that area. And that's unfortunate for the residents that are just trying to use it what it's intended to be, which is a stepping stone to help their life progress to better places and improvements, because they offer a lot more than just housing. I think the plans that they have, that Ella's shown me and Allison has shown me, are going to be, you guys are going to be amazed at what housing is going to be in the future. And I'm just glad to be a part of that.
What's your primary focus going to be now that you're hitting the ground running? And you said day one. So what is going to be the primary focus? What is really going to try and tackle first?
The biggest issues that we have in that area of public housing consistently is going to be drug and gun violence. I mean, as you saw over the weekend in Maple Crest, there was a shooting. There are a lot of shootings that don't make it to the press, that the public doesn't realize that happens. People may not have gotten shot. Buildings or cars may not have gotten shot. It's just a shots fired. I think the public would be amazed at how many shots fired call that patrol or other units, get called out to.
We see that a lot. In the incidents where nothing is hit, nobody is hit, is that something where somebody is trying to send a message and just scare somebody else? Is that what's happening there?
It could be that, or it could be something as stupid as it's New Year's Eve and we're drunk and we just want to go outside of our apartment and pop off a few rounds. It's up to us to investigate that and see what we can find out. The residents are the best source of information. We had something similar happen on New Year's Eve, which is why I brought that up, and we were able to solve it right then and there. But even if nothing is shot and we find shell casings, it could be linked to several other shootings where somebody was shot.
Yeah.
So it's important that we investigate even though it's been 1 call or 2 calls, but nobody says anything.
Well, it sounds like you're excited to get back into the housing units, and they're excited to have you. So, Sergeant Brad Beddow, thank you for taking time talking about that today. We're looking forward to all the progress you can make there.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Joined now by Sergeant Hunter Welborn. Sergeant, thank you for joining me.
Good morning.
So I wanted to get you in here to talk about this fun day, this public safety day out there at Biltmore Church with fire trucks and police vehicles and drones and bouncy houses and food and fun for the whole family. And then total buzzkill, we had a heck of a week on the roadways of Western North Carolina. 3 motor vehicle collisions that resulted in fatalities, 2 of those involving motorcycles, and 2 other very serious collisions. Just more reminders, like we needed more, how dangerous the roads around Asheville, especially the interstates, can be if you're distracted or drunk or speeding or any combination of those.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that most people don't think about, or if they do think about it, they think it won't ever happen to them. And that genuinely leads to the increase in distraction, the increases in speed and things like that. It only takes a split second to lose control of your vehicle or for something to happen that you weren't expecting, and it results in something devastating.
I'm not sure this is the number one reason for collisions, but something that I see on the roadways, you pull up to a red light, right? You got a few minutes. You look around because you're bored, and what you see is everybody on their phones. And odds are they're not going to put it down when they pull away, so distracted driving.
Absolutely. Distractions are always going to be at an all-time high. With the traffic safety unit, we try and focus on kind of the four major things that we see that typically result in either greater injury and or fatality collisions. That's going to be your speed, any type of impairment, the failure to wear a seatbelt, and then distracted driving by electronic device, be it the radio, tablets, cell phones are a big thing. I actually stopped a gentleman the other day for a routine speeding offense, and when I walked up to his car, he had a YouTube video playing on his cell phone that was mounted to his dash right in the middle of his line of sight. So that tells me that he was not only distracted by that, but he was also pulled over for traveling in excess of 30 miles an hour over the posted speed limit.
You know, I think most of us have gone a few miles over the limit. Certainly when I was a younger man, I probably had a little more of a lead foot, and maybe you can chalk this up to age, but the older that I get, part of it is like, listen, wherever I'm going is going to be there when I get there. Don't be in such a hurry. 10 and 2, hands on the wheel, be aware of your surroundings. And it's just mind-boggling how many people don't put any thought at all into the act of driving, and they're just not paying attention.
Right. And it's just a change in that culture and that mindset. And then that invincibility feeling surrounded by a car. And yes, cars, especially nowadays, have gotten much, much safer than they used to be with restraint systems and then your airbags and the crumple zones that are built into cars for manufacturers. So yes, they're absolutely much safer than they would have been back in the day during their first manufacture. But that doesn't alleviate all the danger that comes with operating a motor vehicle. As it comes to speed directly, when you're dealing with somebody that's speeding, you always get I'm going to be late for work, or I'm going to be late for my appointment, or something's happened that's going to cause you to be late. And typically, when you're speeding, if you're in a 60-mile-an-hour zone and you increase your speed to 75 or 80, you're cutting minutes, if that, off of what your original arrival time would have been. So you're increasing your travel distance, you're increasing your perception reaction time, and you're increasing your stopping distance is required to avoid a hazard that is yet to be perceived. So when you're traveling at a speed of 80 miles an hour, you're covering almost 3 football fields in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds. And that's about how long it takes to send a simple one-sentence text message. You've taken your eyes off the road for 4 seconds and you look up and you've traveled 4 football fields and don't know what's about to happen in front of you. So the speeding, the distracted driving, all of it is completely and 100% preventable. Always wear your seatbelt. Slow down. If you're going to be late, it's not worth your life or somebody else's life. Make sure you're not driving while you're impaired. If you've had anything to drink or you've got a new medication, whatever it may be, know how it's going to affect you prior to driving. And set up a secondary plan if you plan to consume alcohol or anything like that. It's the summertime, so people are going to have cookouts and parties and all that stuff. And make sure that you put your phone down. Just drive the car, get to your destination, and whenever you're there safely, then pick it up and handle whatever business you need to handle. Because I can promise you, if you get yourself into a collision, whatever business you were handling there is no longer going to be relevant or important.
Like a seatbelt played into a fatality we just had, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
On 240, that person was thrown from the vehicle.
Yes.
And that resulted in his death. Now, who knows if he would have lived through the crash with his seatbelt on, but better chances.
Absolutely. Seatbelts are there to keep people in the seat. That is the purpose behind them, and it's part of the restraint system that's built into the cars. And without going too far into detail with it, the seatbelt is meant to lock in place whenever the car detects a crash. So there's a little piston that fires and locks your retractor in place so it will not extend out. And it gives you what's called the ride-down effect, which slows your body down. Because if you're traveling at 60 miles an hour in a vehicle and then you hit a rock wall, your body in the seat, whether you know it or not, is still traveling 60 miles an hour. So you always have 3 collisions with every crash. You've got the vehicle hitting another vehicle or an object in the roadway. Mm-hmm. You've got whatever you hit as a person inside your car, and then whatever your internal organs hit as a result of that. So all of the restraint systems and the airbags are designed to slow you down over a gradual time, because if you have time over distance, you're in the space that you're slowing yourself down, it greatly reduces your chance of injury. But if you fail to use your seatbelt, then your airbags aren't going to help you either.
Sergeant Hunter Welborn joins me. Here's something that I've seen just about every morning, at least one person doing this. My route to work is primarily interstates. Unless I see a huge backup, I'm taking the interstates, right, every day, because it's the quickest way traditionally to get there. Exit 44 off of I-40 is basically where I get on the interstate. I live nearby there. So I take 40 to 240 through downtown, right? With all the construction, with all of the traffic, something that I see virtually every day is somebody trying to jockey for the best spot and to get there faster than everybody else, right?
Absolutely.
They're weaving in and out of lanes. They think this lane's faster. They think this lane is faster. Now, 90-something% of us are just following the line because they realize you're not going to get there any quicker, right? But there's always one or two people that are zipping, right? And you get toward like where I'm going and I'm getting off my exit, and what do I see but the person that was zipping all over the place is right there with me.
Right.
And I just kind of followed the line, right? So he risked all of that to get where he was going no quicker than me.
Right.
It's
a perception that people have that they feel like if they're driving faster or they're passing another car or they're getting to their destination faster, it's a facade that they've somehow developed in their mind, but it's something we see every day, and anybody that drives a car on the road is going to see it. And you get to a point, and it's just like you said, your destination might be similar to that person. You're going to end up at a red light, and the person that wants to get behind you and act aggressive or blow their horn or throw their hands up because you're riding in the left lane and they pass you at a high rate of speed on the right is sitting at the same red light that you're sitting at now. It's just an impatience, not necessarily arrogance, but this perceived importance that wherever they're going is more important than somebody else, and they have the right to drive aggressively or to behave in a manner that not only jeopardizes their life but other people's as well. And when we're coming into we're in the heat of the summer now, travelers are always going to ramp up. You've got people driving through Asheville, people driving to Asheville. Vacations are at an all-time high, so you're going to have more and more families on the roadway. So the opportunity for serious injury collisions and fatality collisions is going to be exponentially greater because you just have a greater number of people either walking around or driving around on the roadways. So if we continue this behavior of selfish driving and just unsafe driving, then we're going to continue to see the trend that we've experienced here lately, which is unfortunately 3 fatality collisions followed by 2 serious injury collisions that have ultimately changed the lives, if not ending in a fatality themselves prior to getting discharged from the hospital in less than 7 days.
So you just wrapped up the Operation Firecracker,
Yes.
Booze It and Lose It, and I saw some results from that, some positive results, hoping to change some driver behavior. And sure enough, just a couple of days after that is over, we see a couple of DUIs in town with some bad results. And
Yes.
So the message is still needing to get out there in our various campaigns.
Absolutely. The Governor's Highway Safety puts on the campaigns throughout the year, and they kind of range, again, focusing on those key points of what we see that increase the chances of severity in collisions. So speed is one that's a focus, impaired driving is a focus, seatbelts are a focus, distracted driving, child passenger safety stuff. So a lot of that comes into play with these different campaigns, and it's up to law enforcement to go out and try and do this corrective action to change people's behavior, ultimately to make them safer. Now, nobody likes to see the blue lights turn on behind them, and nobody wants to receive that ticket. But ultimately, we're not out here to make people angry. We're out here to make people aware and to make them smarter, because nobody in this earth can depict when they're going to be involved in a crash. It's an impossible thing to do unless you intentionally run your car off the road into a tree, which I don't see that very often. You're not going to know when the crash is going to happen. So if you prepare to prevent the crash before it happens, then you're going to be ready and have the best likely outcome of survival and the fewest amount of injuries, because you don't know. That's why you have to always wear your seatbelt. You have to always drive the speed limit. You have to always maintain 100% concentration on the task at hand, which is driving to and from point A and B as safe as possible.
Changing speeds, let's finish on an up note, because you were originally scheduled to come in here to talk about this really fun public safety day. So let's do that.
It's called the Skyline Fire Safety Day. I think this is the third annual one that they've put on. They had to miss a year due to some like COVID and some other things like that. But it's out at the Biltmore Church Arden campus on July 25th. It opens up to the public at 9 a.m., runs till about 2 or so in the afternoon. But if people are still there, we're going to hang out with them. There is no cost to get in. It's activities for everybody. The Asheville Police Department's going to be there with all of the toys and stuff. The drone unit, the bomb squad, all that stuff's going to be out there. The Skyline Fire Department will be there with their apparatuses, and they'll have like some drills and stuff like that, and live rescues that kids can take part in. The Buncombe County Sheriff's Office will be out there, wildlife, all of your public safety factors that come into like Buncombe County, to include Mama. One of the Mama helicopters is going to make a landing out there. Cool. Food trucks will be there. So if you could think of just a massive get-together of all the public safety factors within Buncombe County, bringing out all the good stuff, all the stuff for the kids, a lot of activities to do. Again, it's no cost admission to get into it. Come hang out with us, come see what everybody's got, and then take part in some of the activities that are going to be set up for all the kids to do. And the first year that the Asheville Police Department has been really involved in it. But like I said, the Skyline Fire Department's the ones that kind of initiated it, and they've kind of kept it going. But it seems to be growing larger and larger every year, and I'm thankful that we were able to join it.
Perfect place. Plenty of parking, plenty of room for all the apparatus, and sounds like just a fun day for especially like kids. Kids love seeing the big trucks and all the things and the drones and all that. So it's just going to be a fun day too. Absolutely. Almost like a carnival of sorts.
Yeah, a public safety carnival that just kind of gets everybody together and shows what we have to offer to the residents of Buncombe County, and to ensure that we kind of instill like, hey, we're here to help, and we're here to connect with you guys, and then also provide children with not only a fun day full of activities and stuff, but also kind of teach them the safety aspects of what to do in a fire, or if you need help from the police, who to call and what to expect when they arrive. And then EMS will be out there as well. So it should just be a fun day full of information, fun times, and learning.
Okay, give us the date and time again.
July 25th. It's a Saturday, and it begins at 9 in the morning and runs till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but it could run later.
And that's at the Biltmore Church Arden campus, which is the one not too far off of Long Shoals.
Yep, right there off of Clayton Road that connects with Long Shoals Road. It'll be in that parking lot, and we'll have reserved parking area there, and we'll have folks out there to direct everybody where they need to park. And then when you get there, you'll see just a mass of fire trucks, police vehicles, EMS, all kinds of good stuff will be out there ready for everybody.
Awesome. That'll be fun. Sergeant Hunter Welborn, thanks so much for joining me.
Absolutely.
We'll see you out there. Getting to know Officer Dalton Green, and for the second time in about a week, I'm saying thank you for joining me. First time was last week with Mark Starling on our regular Asheville Police Department spot, Thursday mornings about 8:10 on News Radio 570 WWNC. And now, thank you for this and changing up your schedule to do it, because you just started solo nights, this week, right?
Yes, sir. Last night.
Last night?
Yes, sir.
So you had one whole shift by yourself?
One whole shift.
Did you get that new car smell, or are you sharing with somebody?
I am sharing with somebody, but he actually had the car pretty nice. It smells great, actually. So he put up a bunch of scented, like the little trees and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Little scented tree hanging from the dash there. It's
This is like a welcome to the car.
Yeah. So who's the officer you're sharing with?
Juan Nunez.
Is that one of the new ones as well, or is he a vet?
He was in my class.
Bunch of rookies just kind of figuring things out, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we'll just start right there then. How was your first shift?
It was actually really fun. I think it was a really good shift to have for the first night solo. It didn't get too crazy, but we still got out and found some things to do and kind of got comfortable doing things without somebody there with me.
You kind of wonder if, when you're starting a job like that, do you want to ease in, or do you just want to slap in the face, and just jump into the deep end,
Yeah, no, I think it definitely depends on who you're with, depending on the team, Yeah. You get in there and you're like, I kind of want to ease into it. And some of them are like, nah, we got stuff to do. Let's go.
So what's your district?
I'm in West.
You're in West?
Yes, sir. Adam District.
So you're going to be seeing some things.
Potentially.
That is one of our more active areas for a lot of different things. So we'll talk about your journey here in a few minutes, but something I already know. Okay, one of the questions we always ask is where someone's from. So I already know you're from Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
Here's the weird part. If I had to guess without I would still guess you were from Texas. And I can't quite figure out why that is. It's not like you're wearing like a Dallas Cowboys t-shirt.
Right.
You don't got Spurs on or a cowboy hat, but for some reason you just scream Texas.
I think it's a good thing.
I'm not saying it's bad, but can you explain that to me? Why you look like you're from Texas?
I don't know. A lot of people say that people don't want to leave Texas. They grow up in Texas. That's where they want to be. And I think that may just breed a certain type of person. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. But aside from that, I'm not really sure.
What part of Texas?
I grew up in East Texas.
East Texas,
like near Tyler, yes, sir.
Okay, so was that the biggest city to you then, Tyler, Texas?
Tyler's the biggest city where I'm from, yes, sir.
Okay, and so for people that don't know the state of Texas, first of all, it's massive. Explain to them kind of where Tyler is located. You say east, but in a state that's 1,000 miles wide. Or more. It's probably more wide than, right?
It's quite a bit. Yeah, it's up there.
So you're basically on the border of Mississippi almost, over the far side almost?
Not quite to Louisiana or Oklahoma or anything like that. I'm kind of in that direction.
See, I don't even know the map. I said Mississippi, and it's Louisiana, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, well, you would know. I'm trusting.
Close, yeah. I was about 2 hours west of the Louisiana border, toward like Shreveport and stuff like that. About 2 hours southeast of Dallas.
Okay, and that's where you were born too, correct?
I was actually born in Richardson, right next to Dallas.
All right.
But I have no memory there. I was very young when we left.
So family moved and...
Yes, sir. And I lived all over East Texas, kind of Tyler, Jacksonville, all those different areas in there. Gresham was a smaller place.
All right.
But yeah, just anywhere in that east, kind of northeast area of Texas is where I was up.
I got you. Up. And so when did you leave Texas?
I left Texas last year in April 1st of 2025.
Just to do this and come here?
I did. So myself and my now fiance were wanting to move out of Texas, and we wanted to live somewhere with mountains. So I went to a couple different mountain ranges in the U.S. to kind of gauge the area. And this was actually the closest thing I could find that felt like Texas, but it wasn't Texas and it had mountains. So I started looking into what I wanted to do, found this career choice. Did a lot of research. I wasn't somebody that jumped into it just because they wanted to try it,
Yeah.
I spent a long time researching and stuff like that, and decided this is what I wanted to do. So I moved here on April 1st, started on April 7th.
Now there's some mountains in like southern Missouri and Arkansas and that area. I lived in Joplin, Missouri for a while.
There you go.
And we would go down to, what is that, Eureka Springs, or where is it down there?
Oh man, I'm not entirely sure.
There's a city that's kind of a tourist town in Arkansas.
Hot Springs.
It might be.
I've been to Hot Springs, and that's a pretty touristy area.
This is a small town, though.
It's not real big. It's in the middle of the Ozarks.
Yeah, exactly. So
that might be Hot Springs.
That might be it. Okay, it has like a haunted hotel there.
That's Hot Springs.
Okay, that it's built into. It's like built into the side of a hill. It has like this animal sanctuary with like lions and cheetahs and.
Oh man, that's been so long.
Well, it was long for me as well. That would have been the '90s, dude. So that was.
I wasn't here then.
You weren't even probably born yet. So
not quite.
Okay, so you chose Asheville. You chose the Asheville Police Department.
I did,
and that began your journey along with 20 of your fellow classmates. The biggest class we've had since I think it was 2015. And the first in-house academy since, I forget what year it was.
2013?
13? It's something like that. So that's when they ceased doing that and then started working with AB Tech, which they still do. It's still a program worked with AB Tech, but with the classes and everything in-house taught. So I'm thinking with your class the way it was, I never joined a fraternity in college, right?
Right.
But I hear stories from people that have, they get these fraternity brothers, this brotherhood. With you having this big class, that's kind of how I imagine like years from now, you guys with this tight fraternity. Are you getting that vibe? Because I know you get some close friendships already.
I definitely think as far as like the longevity of that kind of thing of like a fraternity would be, I think that will be something that we experience.
Yeah, no hazing. I'm not talking about the hazing.
No, nothing like that.
None of the crazy parties or nothing. I just mean from that, experience and getting to know people and going through things with people.
Yeah, no, definitely. The mental load it puts on you. You have these support structures at home, and that is awesome. It's a good thing. However, those people at home aren't experiencing it with you. So while they can listen to you and kind of sympathize, they can't relate to it as much. So the people we have in our class, I mean, I can't count how many times I myself would text or call one of my friends throughout the academy and just kind of talk things over and see how we're all doing.
So how did that match up, your time at the academy and learning how to be a cop versus going through field training and now one whole shift as a cop? Talk to me through that process, the book work, the field training, and now one whole shift as a solo. So how close are all of those to, each other, I guess?
Right. Starting out, not a scared thing because a lot of the people that were training us and stuff like that were very welcoming, but it's a strain both mentally and physically more than anything else. That would probably be the biggest thing for me throughout the academy is just because, you're running really early in the mornings. I don't think we did too much physical work. We did a lot. Don't get me wrong. We all benefited.
Yeah.
They could have made it a lot worse though if they wanted to.
I saw you guys in the gym.
Oh yeah, no, we still put in some work, but I think it could have been a lot worse. But doing that in conjunction with the class work, having tests or taking a class and then having a test 2 weeks later while you've already went over 2 other classes, it's a lot of recalling information and stuff like that. So it's pretty stressful mentally. Getting into FTO, it becomes more of an emotional thing, I think. The emotional strain on it, having somebody looking over your shoulder, worrying that you're going to do something wrong and somebody be upset with you for it, it becomes a real emotional experience. We had some people get upset kind of in that process. We still kept with each other and everything. So we still got that tight group where we're talking to each other and everything, but it did transition to more of an emotional challenge in the FTO. Still stressful, still mentally exhausting. Physically, not as much. I feel like it's more mind work at that point. Yeah. But then going into solo, it's actually a relief. You get solo. It's a little uncomfortable at first, having that realization that somebody's not in your car with you, making sure that you don't do anything you're not supposed to. Because while you're in FTO, you have the opportunity to make mistakes and somebody's there to make sure you won't do anything that will get you into trouble or get you hurt or anything like that.
Right. Make mistakes. Just don't make it a bunch of times.
Exactly. Right. So you get, you come out of that and it's a little unnerving, to be by yourself and realize that you have no safety net. But at the same time, you still got teammates and stuff if they're coming with you to risky calls and stuff like that. So it all mellows out, but I think at the end, the stress and the weight kind of just reduces.
Did you have an experience with a community member, like early on in your field training, that was just, you didn't know what to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what to do, what to say. A community member that was stressing out, or maybe they're on drugs, or there's something, or they're freaking out, or whatever they are, and you'd never experienced that before, and you're like, okay, this is new.
Absolutely.
What do I do? So what do you do?
The lesson I think I learned the most throughout FTO was that I can solve problems. Even if I don't know what to do, I do have resources to find the answers. If it's something that's not right now, you have no time to think. In those situations, you can call a sergeant, call a friend, somebody more experienced, and just kind of talk through it.
Phone a friend, so to speak.
Exactly. Now, if it's something that's you got 0 seconds to make a decision, best thing to do is do the safest option.
Yep.
And then at least you can articulate why you were trying to do something safely.
Yep. Hopefully your training kicks in, you do the right thing, and if you don't do the right thing, do the right thing the next time. Mm-hmm. I'm with Officer Dalton Green right now, but your name is Tim. So you go by Dalton.
I do.
Which makes me instantly think of a scene from Roadhouse, of which you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Your friends must do that to you when you walk in the room, right? His name is Dalton. Remember Jeff Healy when he said it.
My very first week, yeah. So everybody obviously knew my name was Timothy, and then I went by Dalton. But my very first week, when I started on April 7th of last year, I met Annie Aiken, who came in. There was 3 people currently there waiting, myself, Spacin, and Anderson. Mm-hmm. And she came in and said, everybody's got nicknames, so we're going to get you a nickname. I was like, okay. And she came back upstairs a few minutes later, said, we're calling you Roadhouse. So from then on, I was like, okay.
There's worse nicknames to have.
There is. Eichmann got a little upset with me because I hadn't seen the original Roadhouse in a long time.
Well, he's got a right to be upset. You need to, if you haven't, you need to rewatch that.
I got some homework, and I came back a couple days later.
The remake's it's not bad as remakes go.
Right.
But the original, there's a level of cheese that's associated with that, but at the same time, such coolness to it too. It is super cheesy in a way. Right, some of the things that happened in that, but it's also badass.
I thought it was a pretty good movie. I was a little underwhelmed as much as everyone hyped it up because, like I said, it's been so long. I had photos of it in my head, but that was all I could remember of it. So when Eichmann got upset, and told me I had some homework and I had to go watch it, I came back like a week later and had watched it, and I was like, it's a little underwhelming. But
nicknames. I think I know why Annie did that is because when you put a whole bunch of people in a room together, it's hard to remember names.
Oh, very.
It's easy to remember nicknames.
It is.
So I did the same thing my first week at college. Okay, so the year was 1986. Just prepare yourself for that.
All right.
So what year were you born?
2000.
Yeah. So 14 years before you were born, I'm a freshman in college, and a bunch of us kind of just, I don't know how we got thrown together, but we're just all of a sudden in a group hanging out in the dorms or whatever. And so we go to a party at a friend of mine's house. I was the only one that knew anybody that was existing. And so we end up on the front porch at the end of this night, all of us still getting to know each other. And we just decide to go around the group and give each other nicknames because nobody could remember.
It works.
Nobody could remember anyone's, like Pete. I know it now, but at the time, I couldn't remember his name was Pete. So he was Mojo, so everyone had a different name for a different reason. And we all remembered each other's nickname right after that. So same reason you guys had nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
Who had the weirdest nickname in your class?
Oh, man.
And you don't even have to say what their real name is. You can just say their nickname so we don't call them out.
What did they give? Moose.
Moose.
I think that was probably it was funny and it had a good reasoning to it just because he's a big fella.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, they went with Moose.
Okay. There's worse ones to have than Moose. I kind of like Moose after all. All right, so question I always ask everyone sits in that chair right there is something that most people don't know about you. So if you haven't heard the podcast before, that's going to throw you a little for a loop. But have you given that any thought because you kind of knew that was coming?
I haven't given it too much thought. I feel like there's nothing really like strange about me.
Doesn't have to be strange. It could be.
I think the most interesting thing I can think of is I spent a lot of time working at a drive-through safari, doing stuff with exotic animals. And I was not qualified, but I was able to help out with a horn surgery on a Gemsbok one day.
Okay, that's cool.
So that's probably the most interesting one I could think of.
I don't even know what a Gemsbok is.
It's a big antelope kind of thing with curly antlers.
Oh, so kind of like a ram,
horns.
Kind of like a big buckhorn sheep type thing, like a big ram.
Yeah, if you think about a ram and then mix it with like a white-tailed deer.
Okay,
like kind of antelope-ish looking.
All right.
Kind of like that.
Okay, so you need to meet up with our forensics supervisor, Kristen Norman.
Okay.
She was actually a zoologist in Texas.
Oh, really?
So there's two things you kind of have in common right there, the animal angle, and she worked in Texas.
That's wicked.
And I forget which city right now. I can't recall it. It might have been Austin. But that's what led her to a career in law enforcement was as that zoologist, which she has a degree in, she started working with a local police department because of all these rabies cases and things like that, right? So they needed some. And so somehow her kind of desire to know more about law enforcement led her to this path as a scientist anyway, as a zoologist. Right. So now she is our forensics supervisor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there you go. So you got to somehow meet up with her. And we have a little animal zoo, like a petting zoo type thing down in South Carolina called Hollywild.
Okay.
So if you're just kind of feeling the Jones and you need a second job, you could call them because you have experience on your resume for that.
There you go.
They do a cool thing at Christmas time where you can kind of drive through and they have it all up in lights. And so you'll have like a giraffe that'll be like kind of wandering up to your vehicle. So it's kind of cool. I know a lot of people take their families down there. So you mentioned girlfriend, fiance.
Fiance now, yes, sir.
Fiance now. Okay,
yes,
so you're planning to get married. That's pretty exciting. Got a date planned?
May 8th of 27.
So less than a year.
Less than a year.
Okay, you gonna do it here or going home?
We're gonna be here.
Okay. Is she a local girl?
She's not. She's from Jersey. I met her at Texas A&M when we were both in school there.
It's the same old story you hear all the time. Texas boy, Jersey girl moved to Asheville. All the time, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. No, it's definitely a funny one.
Well, you've had one shift. Tonight will be your second shift.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you're doing in preparation for your second shift, things that you learned in your first shift?
Well, I feel like I've spent my first shift just kind of getting comfortable. At this point, I'm kind of going into it knowing what I'll be doing for the next few hours at least, in leeway of any calls that come out. No, I think I'm getting fuel, getting everything ready. I got all my paperwork caught up right now, so I think I'm just going to follow up on some things I did yesterday and see where the day takes me.
Officer Dalton Green, thank you so much, and stay safe out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's time once again for another History Minute with Hannah Silberman. Welcome back, Hannah.
Glad to be back.
This one's got a lot of twists and turns, doesn't it? Not just the initial incident. So we're going back, first of all, 115 years to July of 1911, July 7th of 1911. We have a line of duty death involving Officer Edward McConnell. It starts weird, it gets weirder, and then it keeps going from there. So let's just start at the very beginning, how Officer McConnell loses his life.
Sure. So on Monday, July 3rd, 1911, Officer McConnell was asked to locate a man who had stole 2 cows from Henderson County.
Which is a big deal back in the day.
Was.
Yeah.
So he was looking for a man named John Huff, who was known to law enforcement. And Officer McConnell very quickly, because he was a good officer, locates him on South Main Street, which is now Biltmore Avenue, kind of near Victoria Road.
Okay.
So as he walks up, Huff had just sold 1 cow and was walking away with the other cow.
Gotcha.
Pretty red-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So he arrests him, he searches him, he finds $11 and a watch.
Gotcha.
And then he starts walking him back to the jail because, again, they didn't have cars or horses or any way to get back. So as he's walking him to the jail, a helpful citizen pulls up in his car and says, "Hop on in, I'll give you a ride."
Okay.
So they're in the back of this car. They're puttering on their way up to the town square.
It's just hard to even imagine this, like a cop having to hitch a ride. It's just kind of...
I try to imagine the car in 1911 too, so it's more
right,
like a wagon.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Ford Model T or whatever it happens to be.
They're in the back seat. As they're coming up Biltmore Avenue at about McDowell Street, Huff pulls a gun out of his clothes that hadn't been found in the search, and he points it at McConnell's face. And as he does, McConnell grabs his arm, pulls it down, the gun goes off, and it goes through his chest into his lungs and lodges into his rib cage or shoulder
His
blade.
chest cavity in there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Huff immediately jumps out of this car because I always imagine it without doors. It might have had doors.
Might have, but probably pretty easy to get out of as well.
Right. And he disappears off into the distance. And the citizen, not knowing what to do, just drives McConnell straight to the hospital.
Did the best he could.
McConnell does survive initially, but then he dies several days later in July of 1911.
Okay,
I think
so-
he said July 7th.
He searched for a gun and didn't search well enough, obviously. I'm not sure how you miss a gun, but he did. And so he's shot and killed, essentially. So they know who it is, obviously, because we have the citizen. He didn't shoot the citizen, the guy that was driving the car.
Right.
And so we've got that guy, and he knew who he was, so we know who this guy is.
Well, this is the crazy part. So, this was not that long after the Will Harris murders. So people were pretty upset, again, that they lost another officer. So again, a group of people, a posse got together to go hunt down John Huff, except there was a rainstorm, so they couldn't track him with the bloodhounds, and he was a much more savvy criminal. So he had aliases, he broke into somebody's house and changed his clothes, he had contacts to kind of disappear, and they were pretty sure he went to South Carolina.
Okay.
So they start sending loads of detectives to South Carolina to hunt for him. And in fact, it cost so much money to continuously send people that the community raised the money to send our police officers down there to look.
Wow.
But they don't find him. So for 7 months, the manhunt continues.
Mm-hmm.
And the reward gets higher and higher and higher till it's about $27,000 in today's money. The problem was that the description of John Huff was very vague and the reward was very high. So people started turning in people as John Huff that were not John Huff, right?
So it's this guy.
Yes.
And it wasn't that guy.
Like the profile of this, the longer it went on, got higher and higher and higher. And everyone's like, well, I don't like my neighbor and he looks like this guy. And I don't think he had a good alibi. And they would turn him in, or another law enforcement agency would get too excited and think that they had John Huff. So they just constantly kept arresting people and being like, oh, well, it's not him. And so people kept getting their hopes up and then they kept getting very disappointed.
It's hard to fathom this being such a big issue, like, because it's 2026, right? And this would never, ever happen like this today.
Yeah.
But you just got to put yourself in 1911. I mean, we are talking pre-World War I. So this is way back in the day, and not that long after the end of the Civil War type thing. So things very primitive.
For sure. In February 1912, the police in Athens, Georgia, arrest a man named Wes Brewer who had been accused of stealing a cow, which seems like it fits, right?
Yeah.
And he looks a lot like John Huff. So they decide that this is actually John Huff, and they ship him back to Asheville, and they say, okay, yes, we're going to put him on trial.
And I'm sure he told you, I'm not John Huff.
He said he's not John Huff.
But the people aren't carrying ID like they are now either.
Yeah. He had a pretty good alibi to not be John Huff, but people were really stuck on this being him, right?
And probably getting frustrated by the fact that it's just gone on for so long.
Exactly. So even though he had, like I said, a very good alibi, half of the people who were there or witnesses said, no, that's absolutely not John Huff. John Huff has a facial scar. He looks very different from this man. That's not him. But then half of the people who were there said, no, that's him. That's John Huff. Like, you got the right guy. And the trial was very, very long. And it eventually ends in a hung jury. The jury says, I don't think you can prove that that's the guy. So they schedule a second trial. But meanwhile, November of 1912, before the next trial, they arrest the actual John Huff in Atlanta.
Okay.
And so they bring him back. Poor Wes Brewer, who's been in jail for over a year, they decide to let him go, and they put John Huff on trial. And that wasn't until February of 1913. It took 60 hours of testimony from 74 witnesses. But the problem was that the first half of witnesses who had said Wes Brewer was John Huff didn't want to be liars, and so they would not testify that this was John Huff, and the other half testified it was, right? And so there was another mistrial, and he was tried again in March of 1912, and he was eventually acquitted.
So even though they knew who did this,
Yes.
and they did eventually get him, they couldn't convict him because of so much malfeasance along the way.
Yes,
Unfortunate for the family of Officer McConnell, of course, and he had a family,
he did.
correct?
Yes, he had 2 children, Ruth and Edward McConnell Jr.
And he was married as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've got a wife and kids who, after 2 years and 2 trials, still don't see justice served. And unfortunately for Officer Edward McConnell with the Asheville Police Department, for only 4 years of service and only 33 years old, he pretty much dies in vain. That's just sad.
There was a quote in the Citizen, because this was it really was. It was like every one of these 70-hour trials was covered in great detail, and it was whose fault was this. But they did say in a quote that the Citizen would like to see the murder of Patrolman McConnell brought to the bar and punished for his crime, but it were far better that 10 guilty men escape than one innocent man should forfeit his life.
Can't disagree with that. You don't want anybody innocent to be convicted of anything, of course, but you just wish they could have figured it out before then.
It's true. And I will just put a small pitch in here, too, is after going through all of these newspaper articles leading up to 1911, it was very clear what a good officer Edward McConnell was. Like you saw it in all of the news reports. Mm-hmm. There was one where he literally pulled a drunk man off of the railroad tracks right before a train almost hit him. Or when the Kenilworth Inn was on fire in 1909, he climbed up 4 balconies to rescue a man out of the burning building. Like he really was a very well-liked, a very well-known officer even in 1911.
So he might have had a very illustrious career had he been with us much longer.
Yes.
So Officer Edward McConnell, end of watch, July 7th, 1911. Once again, thank you again. Another History Minute with Hannah Silberman. That does it for another episode. Thank you to my guests, Sergeant Brad Beddow, Sergeant Hunter Welborn, Officer Dalton Green, and Hannah Silberman with the History Minute. And thank you for listening. If you got a question or topic suggestion, as always, you can call and leave a message at 828-250-8800. That is 828-250-8800. Or you can email me, apdpodcastfeedback@asheville.nc.gov. Listen and subscribe now wherever you get your podcast. Don't miss a single episode. Leave a 5-star review. Tell your friends and family. I'm Rick Rice, and this is the APD Pod Squad.